What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video from the TheSlamDuncan YouTube channel. This is my video that I was promising you guys about my thoughts on the future for Lauri Markkanen and his future for the Chicago Bulls. Right off the bat, I'm just going to come out and say that I believe that Markkanen is probably not going to be a Bull next season. And I'm going to break down to you why, show you reasons through cap space, show you kind of reasons through hints being thrown out of what the Bulls are looking for right now, and show you, his numbers and some of his shooting, just kind of show you that he's really not turning into the player that I think a lot of Bulls fans wanted him to be when we first drafted him. But also, full disclaimer before we get into this, I'm not Arturas Karnisovas, right? I am not in charge of the Chicago Bulls. I do not talk to Chicago Bulls. I don't know what Karnisovas wants for this team, but just through what we've seen from this season, I think we're starting to get an idea what Karnisovas visions for this team moving forward, and this is where this is just my prediction of what I think he's going to do with Markkanen moving forward for this team. And it's pretty much just that I don't think Markkanen's going to be here come next season. But before we get into that, though, make sure you hit that like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this. So, first off, if you have not checked out this video that I made, it was a while back, and this is even before I think Karnisovas first came into office. This is when the Bulls announced that, hey, we're looking for a new vice president and a new general manager. And I made the video called Bulls Have to Be Very Careful with Lauri Markkanen. Now, I'm going to repeat a good amount of things that I said in that video, but I think it's also worth watching because you could see my perspective, the changes in perspective, really. Because back then, if you remember, Markkanen came out and said it was kind of coming out that Markkanen was not very happy with the Chicago Bulls. He wasn't happy with the front office. He wasn't happy with Jim Boylen. And this is when a lot of Bulls fans, and including myself and also the front office at the time, they all wanted Markkanen on this Bulls team, right? And to hear that he was unhappy, I made the video saying that, hey, look, if you don't think that Markkanen has any leverage right now, you're wrong. If Markkanen really wanted to be out and not be on the Chicago Bulls team anymore, he has every single ability to do so. And he actually has a lot that he can do to force his way out of Chicago. And I talked about how this is, for one, his contract year, right? So he's up for an extension. And if he did not want to be here, he can sign the qualifying offer, which if he does do such a thing, then he has a no-trade clause. So if the team tries to trade him, then he's probably not going to accept that deal. And so he's basically untradeable if he accepts the qualifying offer, if he becomes a restricted free agent. And then after the qualifying offer, he's able to be an unrestricted free agent and go elsewhere, right? So that's me in the mindset, though, that I want Markkanen here. And a lot of Bulls fans did, and the front office did as well. But as time has gone on, and we've seen what Karnisovas wants for this team, we've seen that Markkanen did not sign an extension, and we've also seen his play now this year, and also that he's injured again. I think it's starting to get to the point now, even with Bulls fans, but also with Karnisovas, that he probably doesn't want this man on to be a major part of this team. Now, if he can get Markkanen to sign a pretty small offer, I think he'd accept it. But I think we saw from early in the season when they failed to sign that extension, I think that was the first notice from Karnisovas, or at least first little hint from Karnisovas, showing that we want guys that can do a lot of things on both ends of the floor for this team. We don't want a man that is very one-dimensional and needs to, and for him to have, create offense on the offensive side of the floor, he needs someone else to create his shot for him. And if he can't bring anything to the defensive side of the floor, it probably isn't worth keeping him, right? And we saw this with, for example, Chris Dunn and Shaq Harrison. Karnisovas is look, Chris Dunn, you're a great defender, but you bring nothing offensively. Shaq Harrison, you're a great defender, but you bring nothing offensively. We need guys that can do both things, right? We need guys that can actually do both things effectively on both sides of the floor, and not just do one thing on each side of the floor. You can't just be a shooter. You have to also be a ball handler, or you have to be a good screener, right? So now, getting all that out of the way, let's look at the cap situation now for the Bulls. So we don't know the actual numbers what Lauri Markkanen wanted. It seems to have been closer to 20 mil though, and clearly Karnisovas wasn't going to go anywhere near that. And he probably offered something close to 14 million a year, and Markkanen and his team said no. So let's just put this in perspective. Let's say the Bulls decide, all right, let's keep Lauri Markkanen. We saw enough from him this season, and let's see what we can do with him moving forward. And let's say we then give in to him and sign him to like a $20+ million per year deal. Look at the Bulls cap situation moving forward. I've been telling a lot of people recently that this Bulls team has a ton of flexibility, and I mean a ton of flexibility moving forward. Not only do we have all our picks, but just look at the cap situation right now. So a lot of Bulls fans were upset at the beginning of the offseason in November that we weren't signing guys, like we couldn't find anybody to sign, and like if a lot of Bulls fans thought we were striking out. But I was telling people, like, look, we don't have money. I mean, look at right now. We're over the cap right now, and the cap, is $109 million, right? And we're at $124 million. We had no money to begin with. We got lucky that Garrett Temple signed for such a small deal, right? We do not have money to spend at all, and we had nothing to spend in November, right? But this is a completely different offseason coming up for the Bulls. Not only do you see like the $72 million right here, but Thaddeus Young and Tomas Satoransky, they're on unguaranteed deals. They're on non-guaranteed deals. So they're not guaranteed any money, really. I think it's like they probably only get $2 million each if they're waived or if they're, cut or whatever. But this Bulls team has a ton of cap space in 2021 and 2022. Now, if you're probably already thinking like, well, there aren't that many big free agents, right? And I agree with you. I don't think there's that many free agents right now, especially because Giannis and AD both signed extensions. And AD was a free agent this past offseason, but I was kind of expecting AD to actually do like a 1+1. That didn't happen. And Giannis obviously signed that Supermax extension. So the big names, the only real name that's on the market is Kawhi. And I don't think Kawhi is coming to the Chicago Bulls, right? So, money, having so much money is not going to be that effective for signing free agents. However, here's where things can get interesting, right? Using this money right here, and this team still has a pretty good amount of assets, a young asset still on the roster, even with all the money coming off the books. You can use these assets and then take on a bunch of, salaries and then potentially get more assets, whether that's, you can trade for, a first-round pick but also take on a bad contract, or you can use these assets, some of these young guys, and trade for a big contract for like a really good player, and then you don't have to trade as much money away and you can still absorb that contract in return. So there's always things you can do. Not only that, though, Otto Porter, like, I don't know if he's going to be on this roster or not. He's having injury issues again this season. And, a sign and trade isn't out of the possibility either. So he can be gone as well. But main thing is that his contract's off the books. Now, how this affects Markkanen, though, is if you think about it, if you sign Markkanen to this deal, right? How much does this limit you? I mean, I'm specifically talking for this season right here, right? If you sign Markkanen to this deal, right, it severely limits you. Now, I don't know what the situation here between Young and Satoransky is going to be. You can easily trade them. You can easily just waive them and, they're not paid that much money. But then you don't have as much room to work with right here. You're already at $72 million with these contracts here. Add on another 20 plus the first round pick that the Bulls are going to have, whoever that's going to be. You're basically at the salary cap, right? But if you don't sign Markkanen, you have a lot of flexibility with the amount of non-guaranteed deals you have right here, and then just not having Markkanen, to sign. Now, that's one thing, right? And then come this season, which I'm going to get into a different video, which includes about Levine's contract extension or new contract with the Bulls, but that would also slightly hinder for this season, but it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. I'm mostly worried about this season because I'm expecting some big changes from Karnisovas just from this season alone because he got to evaluate people this season, but this is the season where things change a lot. So that's where I'm most looking at that. I don't think Karnisovas is just going to be willing to hand out $20 million to Lauri Markkanen for this season right here, right? Now, let's move on to this. A lot of talk right now is about Lonzo Ball, and you can watch my videos on Lonzo Ball, which I don't think he's a point guard. I think he's more of a shooting guard, but besides the point here, the Bulls like him apparently. As each day goes on, I think there is less of a chance a trade happens. I actually think the Pelicans are probably going to keep Lonzo here for the rest of this season. We'll see where he goes after that. But let's put it this way. If Lonzo Ball or any, young guy comes to the Bulls, right? Especially if they're in their contract year. And a lot of Bulls fans, for some odd reason, like guys that are about to hit restricted free agency. Let's say Karnisovas, goes and trades for Lonzo Ball, and we give up Chandler Hutchison, maybe Valentine, and then a second or something like that. Just throwing that out there. Now you got two guys that are about to hit restricted free agency on the roster. I'm telling you right now, Karnisovas is not going to pay two restricted free agents the contract that they want on the same offseason. There is absolutely no way, right? And the thing is that these guys can go out and get a contract, and then the Bulls can match it, obviously. But I'm going to guarantee you right now, a bunch of teams have a lot of money to spend this offseason, and they're going to overpay for Markkanen and Lonzo Ball immediately. And I don't think the Bulls want to, overpay for these types of guys, especially guys that are mostly more role players. So, no matter what, though, let's say that some trade does happen, which I really don't know. But if there is a trade, let's just put it this way, Markkanen is basically gone. If a trade does happen and it does not include Markkanen is probably gone. Now, here's the last thing I want to point out with the whole salary stuff. Trade deadline, I think, is about 5 weeks away now. We're getting to that point. And a lot of people are screaming, trade Levine, trade Young, trade Satoransky. There's a man right here that I feel like that Karnisovas won't be, he won't stop. And, he's probably willing to take a bunch of calls for Markkanen right now. Especially a dude that just got injured again, which this is really what this video is about, is that Markkanen getting injured again severely hurts him right now and his future for the Bulls. Because this is already his third major injury for this team in 4 years. I don't think Karnisovas is going to be willing to pay a man so much money for a long period of time if he can't stay healthy. And that's the reason why I really do think Markkanen's future is in jeopardy when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. So that's, in terms of cap situation. Now, I want to kind of talk about some of his stats here. Markkanen is doing much better this season in general. Billy Donovan is definitely helping with that. He's averaging 19. His field goal percentage is over 50%, and his three-point percentage is career high at about 40%. So that's good to see finally, because we all heard that Markkanen's a sharpshooter, and now he's finally starting to kind of show it. But he has had some really cold stretches already this season in his limited amount of games. So I want to show you some shooting charts. So this season, 2018-2019, he averaged 18.7. And this was like when a lot of Bulls fans, including myself, was like, wow, this dude could actually be an all-star. Because he showed us, especially in the month of February this year, that he can flat out score the ball in multiple ways. And let's just look at the shooting chart here. You can see that he is shooting from everywhere on the court. And that's what was, interesting to me, was like, this dude can really score no matter where he is on the court. And he can score multiple ways. I was excited because I'm like, man, this is so good to see. I love seeing that Markkanen can do so many things, and he can shoot the ball from anywhere. I mean, I know a bunch of his shots are up here, but he can shoot from the corner. He's shot from mid-range, saw a lot of his post game, and not only that, but he can finish inside. This was really good. 795 field goal attempts and only 332 from three, which is also good to me because I don't want Markkanen to become a guy that is strictly just a three-point shooter or the big man that can shoot. That is not what I want Markkanen to become, right? Well, then, Jim Boylen happened, right, this year, right? And as you can see, the shooting chart really changed. It changed drastically. And this is Boylen mostly, hopefully mostly, saying to Markkanen, look, that mid-range shot, don't shoot it. Don't shoot it. It's not a good shot. We don't want to take those shots. It's inefficient, which I completely disagree. I think mid-range shots need to be a part of your offensive repertoire, or else you're very easy to guard. Hence, what Markkanen did this season. So he shot just from three and just inside the paint. That was basically it for Larry Markkanen, and the biggest problem to me was that over 50% of his field goal attempts were from three-point range. That's not good. Did not want to see it. Now let's get to this season, right? Does it look familiar? It looks very familiar to this season, right? And this isn't, I don't really think this is Donovan because, one, I mean, you're seeing Markkanen, again, he's averaging, he's doing much better, but again, it is only 14 games. He's doing much better. He looks more aggressive. He's attacking the rim more, which is good. I want to see him attack the rim more. But if you look at the shooting, though, it doesn't really show that he's attacking the rim more, right? 101 three-point attempts, 185 field goal attempts, right? That's an issue. Markkanen is becoming, more just, I'm just going to be shooting the ball mostly from three-point range. That's basically it. When in actuality, he needs to be attacking that rim. Hence, look, at the rim, 80% at the rim, right? That's what I want to see more from Markkanen. But if his body can't take, the physical punishment of being a 7-footer down in the paint, then there's no use for him besides just three-point shooting. And as he can't defend, obviously, can't play center, really can't rebound that well, Why would Karnisovas pay something like that? So if you're about to start, yelling at me because it's like, well, he's doing great, Duncan. What's the problem with this? Well, I'll show you what the problem is. In that, I'm not saying Markkanen needs to become Jokic. I don't think Markkanen and Jokic could ever become the same thing. But I think if there's ever a really good comparison, it's that Markkanen and Jokic, they've at times handled the ball together, they've handled the ball and brought it up court. We've seen them actually have really good ball handling ability. But what separates Jokic and what separates Markkanen is this right here. Jokic shot 100 threes, right? He's basically shot the same amount of threes as Markkanen, but obviously in 27 games instead. But he's shooting a decent amount. But most of his shots come from at the rim and from 3 to 10 feet. And that's where I think Markkanen is having such a big issue right now is he doesn't look to go there first. He looks to shoot from three-point range first, and that's not what I really want to see. This right here is what separates, an all-star from just a role player, is that you can score in so many different ways, and all these different shots from everywhere on the court is what makes Jokic such a threat, right? And I was hoping Markkanen can become that, but as you can see, he's becoming really just the, paint, threes, that's it. Don't shoot anything else. Why would you pay someone like that money that you would believe to become an all-star? That you just don't, right? So let's go back to Casey Johnson and when he first, it was first announced that, Markkanen and the Bulls did not sign that extension. You see guys, for example, you got Fultz, Isaac, you got Kennard. These are all guys in the same draft class as Markkanen, right? And they all signed these deals, right? But the main thing is this. You got guys like John Collins. And John Collins is about to hit restricted free agency as well this offseason. I don't know how much he's going to get paid, but I think this is the starting level. This is going to be the base level to see what Markkanen could get. And I'm telling you right now, John Collins is going to be paid $20+ million a year or more. It's already there. It's already set there. And I don't think, again, Karnisovas is going to be wanting to pay someone like Markkanen, who can't stay healthy, very one-dimensional, that type of money. So that's kind of just my whole breakdown of what it means for the Bulls with Larry Markkanen. A lot of it has to do with, cap space flexibility, but also just his play, man. And unfortunately, his lack of, good health. It bothers me that Markkanen just can't stay healthy, and this goes the same to Wendell Carter Jr., which we're going to be in the same position for the Bulls, next year, with Wendell. It's Wendell can't stay healthy, and because of that, I don't really want, to have to deal with such an issue like that. And I don't know if it's genes, I don't know if it's just bad luck, but one of the best abilities is durability, and Markkanen clearly does not have that. And I know he's played pretty well this season, but are you really be willing to pay this man $20+ million a year? I don't think so. And I guarantee you right now, because so much money is going to be spent this upcoming offseason, he's going to be demanding that type of money. And some team's going to pay him. I just don't think it's going to be the Bulls, right? And last but not least, like I told you earlier, if the Bulls do somehow make a trade for a Lonzo Ball or some other trade, right? That means Markkanen's gone. It's just, I don't see how else, Karnisovas would be willing to pay so much more money to guys in this offseason where it's, an offseason where a lot of money comes off the books. I don't see Karnisovas wanting to lock himself up again in, a bunch of bad contracts or long contracts that, offer a lot of money. So that's that on Larry Markkanen. Now, that's my end for the Larry Markkanen stuff and why I just think his future with the Bulls is in jeopardy. I really do. And I don't know what it's going to be for the Bulls and how he's going to leave. The qualifying offer is still an option for him. The Bulls are going to offer it to him 100%, but don't be surprised if there's a sign and trade. And I'm going to say right now, I don't think Markkanen is going to get traded at the trade deadline. If he is traded, though, at the trade deadline, it's not going to be for a lot in return. So I think if you're Karnisovas, you probably want to trade Markkanen in the offseason in a sign and trade. Again, though, if Markkanen signs a qualifying offer, he has a no-trade clause. And that's not good if you're the Bulls. You don't want that. You don't want Markkanen to have a no-trade clause if you're trying to actually get rid of him. So that's the end of the Larry Markkanen stuff. Now, I'm going to break down the last two games that I wasn't able to break down on this channel, which is the Clippers game and then the Pacers game. If I'm going to straight up tell you, I was not able to watch a lot of this game right here. If you want to know why, I was fighting with Joe Coley. He started arguing with me over Zach LaVine's defense. And you can go check it out. Again, Duncan_White14 on my Twitter. You can check out the whole argument. We argued for the entire game. So I wasn't able to watch most of this game, but I was able to catch, kind of check in. And, yeah, there was some bad moments for the Bulls this game. Overall, it's just so weird with the Bulls. Like, let's just, take a look at these statistics for the Bulls in the Clippers game, and then look at them in the Pacers game. So, for example, the Bulls in this game, they out-rebounded the Clippers. They had more assists than the Clippers, and they only limited themselves to 13 turnovers, which is good. And they shot 47% from the field, 37% from three-point range, which is pretty solid. It's not great, but it's solid, right? And they end up with an L. They lose by 19 points. This game was kind of close, halftime-ish. It was like 8 points, I think, at halftime, something like that. I don't really know. But, or 6 points, or I don't even, again, I was not able to pay too much attention. But I did see, though, in the third quarter that Kawhi Leonard just started to rip the Bulls apart. It was just game over once that happened. Once Kawhi Leonard started to take over, yeah, it was over for the Bulls. And unfortunately, this team still does not do well in adversity. So, when Kawhi's hitting all those shots, the Bulls don't really respond that well. Now, I was able to catch all this game and watch the entire thing. A lot of people were saying this is a great win for the Bulls. This is like one of the most impressive wins. And, let's just take a look at the stats. First off, we got out-rebounded by 13. We gave up 13 offensive rebounds. We only had 18 assists to our 19 turnovers, right? Just from that alone, you're like, what? And then we shoot 42% from the field and 27% from three-point range. So worst shooting percentage. We got out-rebounded, we got out-assisted, we had more turnovers than assists and more turnovers than the Pacers. But we won this game in overtime. And I was just mind-boggled in this game of how Sabonis, Turner, Brogdon, all these guys were just missing open layups the entire game at the rim. And while people say that this game was a good win for the Bulls or one of their most impressive wins, I disagree. I actually was not very impressed by this Bulls performance. I was, at the end of the game, I was actually kind of upset. I thought the Bulls didn't deserve to win this game, but they, at least what was good to see is that even when things were going wrong, the three-point shot was going down, they really couldn't shoot that well from the field, well, neither could the Pacers. They were getting out-rebounded, they were committing so many turnovers, and the offense wasn't exactly flowing. They still fought through it, even when things were going wrong for them, and they still got this win, which was good to see. But I didn't like the effort at all from what I saw at the beginning. Because we could argue, well, look, they did a decent job of, making sure Sabonis didn't go off too crazy, or Turner didn't go off, or Brogdon really didn't go off, or, they kind of limited guys. They really didn't. The Pacers just missed shots. And that's what I really took away from this game, is that this defense was so atrocious. Especially, and one, thank God Wendell Carter Jr. came back, because if Wendell wasn't here, this 100% would have been an L. But Wendell only played 20 minutes. One, due to foul trouble, but also two, just, this is his first game back from injury. But you just saw, when Wendell came out of the game, there was no stopping anybody in the paint. Like, Wendell did a great job against Sabonis, and I literally mean that. But when anybody else guarded Sabonis, it was just bucket after bucket after bucket after bucket. And that includes Thaddeus Young, and Luke Cornett, for some odd reason, played 8 minutes this game. I don't know why, but this is definitely a signal to Daniel Gafford, hey, you need to play better. And this is one of my main concerns right now for the Bulls, is they don't really have a center outside of Wendell that can, effectively play that center position and make sure that the opposing big men don't get going as easily. I'm telling you right now, the Bulls defense was just so much better with Wendell Carter Jr. in the game. But due to his foul trouble and just his, lack of conditioning, because he's returning from injury, he only played 20 minutes. And so you have to play 28 other minutes with him not out there on the court. It's kind of tough for the Bulls. It was really, really tough. But I think the bench did come in and do their job with Thaddeus Young, Satoransky, and Valentine. They came in, and while the starters had some rough moments, especially with Kobe White and Patrick Williams, these guys definitely came in and helped and got this win for the Bulls. They definitely were a big part of it. Thaddeus Young had a great game, but I don't think defensively played that well. But everywhere else he was great. And Satoransky coming in and handling the point is just a great thing for the Bulls. And last but not least, of course, we got to talk about Zach. 30 points, but main thing is that I think he had 14 in that fourth quarter. He hit the go-ahead shot, which then, it went into OT, but he gave the Bulls the lead. If he doesn't hit that shot, it's probably an L. And as you saw probably on the broadcast, Zach LaVine leads the league in fourth quarter points right now. So the big thing right now for me at least is, he did not have that great of a shooting performance in general. He was really struggling because the officials were not calling any fouls in this entire game, and Zach was getting hit on the head, hit on the arm, and nothing was called. And he was starting to struggle because it's like 3 Pacers would hack him, and it's missed shot. But he still was able to turn it on in the fourth quarter and help this team at least get it to overtime when this team was really struggling offensively. So great job by Zach, and I love to see that from him. Just knowing that you have a dude that can, he may be struggling in early game. He may not be hitting a shot, but he's going to show up in that fourth quarter in crunch time. It's such a luxury to have. Great to see it from him. And as you see, his stats are only going up. And today, I'm recording this as this is the last day to vote for him. So I'm expecting LaVine to get into the All-Star game this season. No doubt in my mind at all. So that's all I have for these 2 games, really. Just kind of some quick thoughts over it. I'm not going to do any, breaking down any film. I don't really have much to really say on that. But I hope you guys enjoyed what I said about, Lauri Markkanen and his future and then breaking this stuff down. But I really do think Markkanen, is probably gone. And I really don't know how Karnisovas is going to handle it. He could stay. I could be completely wrong in this situation, but I won't be surprised if Markkanen's gone. And I think Karnisovas is starting to head in that direction for the Bulls. And we'll see how he handles it all. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next Bulls video. Peace.